Alright guys, example 4, we're going to now use completing the square to write a quadratic function in vertex form. Alright, it's been a minute since we have looked at vertex form. Here's a quick refresher. Go ahead and write that down. That is what our vertex form looks like. And notice how we have that perfect square right in the middle. That's kind of where we're leading into. We want to use what we know now about completing the square to try to write our function in vertex form. And it's going to kind of happen naturally with the same exact steps that we did in example 2. So we're going to do that exact same thing. Really, the only difference is notice how we're not set equal to 0. In our last 3 examples, we were set equal to 0. Now we're set equal to y. Okay, our process is still going to stay the same. Let's see how that will work. All right, here's our quadratic that we're starting with. What we see right away is with our quadratic, there is not 2 perfect numbers that multiply to c and add to b. So this is where we, just like before, we get rid of our c value. The only difference now is we're not doing 0 minus 11, we're doing y minus 11. So it's actually just going to stay exactly like that. We're just going to leave it like that. We move the c value over, and on the left-hand side, we now have y minus 11, and on the right-hand side, we have x squared minus 8x. All right, so we got rid of our c value. We want to come up with our own c value. So that's when we add in our 2 blanks on both sides. We're going to find our perfect square trinomial. And to do that, just like before, we're going to take our b value, and we're going to divide it by 2 and square it. That's going to tell us our c value every single time. Looks like we're getting positive 16. So that's our magic number. We want to add the magic number on both sides, just like we did before. Now, let's go over to the left-hand side really quick. Again, the only difference in this problem from before is normally we could simplify this all down to just one number because this was 0. But now that it's y just kind of has to stay there. We can still simplify these other 2 numbers though, so let's go ahead and add those together. 16 minus 11, we get 5, positive 5. So on the left-hand side, that's what we get when we simplify those 3 terms. Now let's move over to the right-hand side. We came up with this c value here because now we can factor this. There is a perfect number that multiplies to positive 16 and adds to negative 8, and that is negative 4 and negative 4. So here is our equation right now. Let's go ahead and go one more step further on the right-hand side. We want to rewrite those 2 factors like so. We want to square them. And we can do that because they're identical now. And then let's bring down that y plus 5 on the left-hand side. All right, take a look at where we are now. And let's go back to our vertex form. Are we looking kind of like it? Looks like we're almost there. Our last step now is to get y alone. So let's go back to where we were at. Our last step to solve for y, you guys, is to just get rid of this 5. We're just going to move it over. And when we do that, we're left with y equals. We can't really simplify this stuff on the right-hand side, so we're just going to leave it exactly how it is. X minus 4 squared. And that last step, we just subtracted 5. Let's zoom out. Take a look at that and our vertex form. They are now identical. So we just use the completing the square process to write our function in vertex form. Bonus, anybody remember how to find the vertex from vertex form? It's our h value and our k value. So the vertex is positive 4, negative 5. H and k. Go ahead and pause the video if you're feeling good, and you can try the next 2 on your own. Otherwise, if you're still feeling a little stuck, let's go ahead and do them together. All right, we're going to write these in vertex form. And again, right off the bat, our quadratic, we cannot factor. There's not 2 numbers that multiply to 3 and add to negative 2. So we want to get rid of this c value. We want to get rid of it, move it over to the other side. And when we do, we're left with y minus 3. equals x squared minus 2x. All right, so we need to find the right c value. 3 was not the right one. So we're going to have to find it, and we have to add a blank on both sides every single time. And to find that missing value, we always do b, which is negative 2, b divided by 2 squared. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. We square that to get positive 1. That is our magic number. Let's go ahead and add that on both sides. And it doesn't matter which side you simplify first. I like to go left to right, so I'm going to jump over here. And the y, like I said, since it's just y, we can't really simplify that. So we're just going to start with that. And these two numbers we should always be able to add together. Positive 1 and negative 3, we get negative 2. All right, now let's jump over to the right-hand side. Once we added in our magic number, we should be able to factor this. And the factoring will always be the exact same number. So what two perfect numbers multiply to positive 1 and add to negative 2? Should be negative 1 and negative 1. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to jump down here a little bit further, and we're going to write that as a binomial squared. And on the left-hand side, let's bring down that y minus 2. We are super, super close to our vertex form, the very last step, just like before. We want to isolate y now. So we're just going to add 2 on the end of our equation. And that right there, you guys, is our final answer. There we go. There's our vertex form. All right, in bonus, what's our vertex? Positive 1, positive 2. All right, last one in vertex form. First step, let's get rid of that c value. There's not going to be two numbers that multiply to c and add to b that are identical. So we got to get rid of that c value, come up with our own. On the left-hand side, we have y minus 25. Right-hand side, x squared plus 6x. Let's add in our blanks on both sides. To find that missing value, we always do b divided by 2 squared. All right, 6 divided by 2 squared, we're going to get 3 squared, which is 9. There's our magic number. Let's add it up on both sides. On the left-hand side, we're going to add 9 and 25, negative 25. And we get negative 16. So y minus 16 on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, I'm actually going to jump right into factoring this one squared. So where I got that from is 3 is our perfect magic number that 3 times 3 multiplies to c and adds to b. So we can write it in our binomial squared right away. All right, last step. We want to isolate y to get this into vertex form, and that is our final equation. And what's our vertex? It's going to be negative 3, positive 16.